today's goal is going to be putting this wear sleeve on, and I want to say that the reason I'm doing the wear sleeve is because, well, there's not a lot of wear on the crankshaft. It just seems to make more sense to have basically a brand new crankshaft than any wear at all. And I know I've seen guys that know more about this talk about setting the crankshaft oil seal, you know, different depths in there. But for me, I'd rather just start with a brand new crankshaft, use the Cummins installer tool, and just have everything like it's brand new, because I think you've seen how much work it's been to get into the motor that far, and I really don't want to have to do it again. So let's just do it. Let's just do it. I don't want to say right. Let's just do it new, as repeatable as possible from the start. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take some Scotch-Brite, clean off the shaft where the wear sleeve goes, put some oil where the wear sleeve goes, put some oil on these bolts that are going to bring the oil sleeve in. I don't know if you can see, there's a lip there. The chamfered side, which is the angled side, is supposed to go on first. So we'll do that when we're putting it on. And then I was reading the directions here, and it says do not exceed a half revolution on each. And then it was cut off. Prevent wear sleeve binding or irregular stretching. So I think what they're saying is they only want us to go a half a turn at a time on each of these bolts. And again, we're pretty far, to me, we're pretty far on the engine. I know guys go farther. So let's just take our time and do a half a turn of these bolts, put the wear sleeve on nice and even, and not have to call oversight because we think we made a mistake. So let's get to it. About a 17? Yep. Okay, she bottomed out. So that's how everything looks, and I took these bolts down to snug, but once they stopped, I learned my lesson in the past. I didn't try to keep going. I just was like, they're snug, stop. And then take a look at the back there, and that's how far on it is. So let's pull that off, and hopefully we'll see what looks like a brand new crankshaft. You know, I did use these calipers here to just check my alignment every once in a while, and you know, you don't have to do this, but again, I would just rather be safe than sorry. So I never really got more than about a quarter turn off with my alignment, and what I did do is I did just do a quarter turn at a time and just ease the guy in there. And there we are, guys. One brand new crankshaft, ready for a seal. Okay guys, so we finished talking about the killer dowel pin, and we will never talk of that again in this garage. And now we're going to go ahead and drive the seal into the cover here. And before we do that, I do just want to say that, you know, so this is 3 coats of paint. It's been sitting for 3 days. I got at the depot, I got some Rust-Oleum engine enamel, and it is gloss black. It was like $6 for the can, and nothing says quality work like a fresh coat of paint with scratches in it when the job is done, and I think we're going to get that here. With the hardware, so there's all our bolts. What I did is I used this little grinder. It's only like a 5-inch grinder. Yeah, it's a 5-inch grinder. I mean, my parents got this for me like when I was in high school. But this brass brush does awesome for cleaning nuts and bolts. It really gets into the nooks and crannies nicely. I have a parts tumbler. I got a parts tumbler because I thought it would be easier. And the parts tumbler, what happens is you end up getting dust all over. I'm using cat litter, so maybe the media's wrong, but I end up getting dust all over my parts, and then I spend more time trying to clean the dust off and deal with that. So I actually, it seems like it takes longer, but I think it does a better job. I like this brass wheel for cleaning the bolts off. And then what I did is I used the brass wheel, and then I put all my bolts in the Skippy with some simple green, shook it around, and that cleaned off any junk, and that is a good enough job. And then I just took my pick here, or this is for removing hoses. I just got this set for this job. So I just went and, you know, you've got the box with a little height on it, and the amount we're paying for these boxes, we might as well get more use out of them. So then I took this pick and I just poked holes, and that was enough to let me just stick the bolts in there, so just the head's protruding, and then you just give them a few light coats of paint. I think it was only 2 light coats. I didn't want to go too heavy with that. So I'm sure this is common knowledge for a lot of guys, but for anybody who hasn't seen it done before, that's the way you do it. And then with the studs, I just put a piece of fuel line hose. So paint is still a little damp. So there's your stud, and you know, it's like you got brand new hardware. So that's what the small one looks like. You know, this stuff is 19 years. It hasn't been neglected, and there's the big ones. So I tried my best to not get any paint on the shaft. I mean, there's a little bit there, but you know, I didn't want to get any paint on the threads or the shaft of the bolts. I just wanted the tops to keep from rusting over. So the next thing we do is I'm going to get this cleaned up, and I'll let you guys watch me drive the seal here. I think it's Wade at Thoroughbred Diesel, has just amazing videos on the wear sleeve, driving the seal, and reinstalling the cover. So if you want it, you know, with less words and a guy that's done it a lot more than me, go watch him. But if you're enjoying my take on this, stay tuned. I do just want to make a note, guys. If you're going to be using a wheel to clean the bolts, make sure you got a face shield on, a good face shield, because these wires, I must have felt the wires tink against this shield 5 or 6 times when I was doing this. And these wires come out, and you really don't want them sticking in your eye. The other thing I did is I put the bolts in a set of vice grips and used the vice grips to manipulate the bolts, so I didn't get my fingers in the wheels of the wire. And you know, a good heavy pair of leather gloves is a good idea as well, because you know, you'll say you'll never slip, but it's going to happen. It's kind of a tedious job. So that way, when you bump your fingers into the wire wheel, you know, you won't scratch them up and have to deal with a nasty cut for weeks. So safety first, guys.